Hey fangirls! I don't know if you know what today is, but it is one of my most favorite days of the whole year, and that is the first day of the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. So I thought I would come to you with a very special live edition of It's a Fangirl World. Hi Kim. Kim's here. Kim's our other head fangirl over here at It's a Fangirl World. Kim, am I oriented the right way? I have my phone tilted. Do I look okay? I'm going to wait and see what she says. So, it's Epcot International Food and Wine Festival Day, and that basically means that from today until November 13th, you can go to Epcot and enjoy all of the delicious things that the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival has to offer. So actually, next week on Thursday, we're going to release another episode of our It's a Fangirl World vlog. And oh, great, Kim, I'm glad I'm facing the right way. And that's all going to be about the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. I've been a few times, Kim's never been, so she's going to do a little interview with me and find out what there is to do and see and eat and taste and enjoy at the festival. But since starting right now, you could be eating your way around the world, I thought that I would share with you a few of my favorite dishes or recommended dishes from this year's Food and Wine Festival. And if you have any questions or you want to share your favorites, please put it down in the comments below or give this video a little like or a little share, and with all your fangirl friends, your Disney friends, your foodie friends, whatever you like. So, I really wanted to make a top 10 list for you, but let's be realistic, I love food, so this is more like a top around 50 list. But that's okay because there's like hundreds of things that you could be eating and drinking at the festival, and I'm going to narrow it down for you. Doesn't mean you have to eat 50 things, although maybe you should if you go to the festival, but I wanted to give you some options of all the things that I wish I was there eating right now, because as you can see, I'm at home in my office, not eating delicious things at the festival at the moment. So these are all things that I've had in the past that they've brought back, and I loved when I've had in the past. Stuff that I've never had, but I wish I was eating right now. Things that I think are really good value for money, because at the festivals, sometimes you get a tiny portion and sometimes you get a huge portion, and that does not necessarily correspond with price. And there's nothing sadder than paying $8 or $12 for something that is teeny tiny. When you could have, had a whole bunch of things or a very large dish for that portion. And also because I know a lot of you really like the Disney dining plan, and you might have a lot of snack credits to burn through. Some things that I think are really good uses of the snack credit at the Food and Wine Festival. In general, the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival, or any of the Epcot festivals where you can exchange your snack credits from the Disney dining plan into items from the booths, they're typically much better deal than buying a popcorn or a Mickey bar or something. Not always, so you have to do some compare and contrast there and see, but let's get on with it. So I picked things from different booths. Not every booth is represented in this list, and some are more represented than others, so let's find out. New this year is a booth called the Almond Orchard, and it's actually hosted by Blue Diamond Almond Breeze. And if I was going to pick one booth only to go to at the festival, it would be this one, because the menu sounds delicious, guys. We've got, sorry, I'm looking at the screen to read you menus, but we have cauliflower risotto with pulled chicken, artichokes, spinach, parmesan, and aged balsamic. We have fire roasted tomato hummus topped with Blue Diamond salt and vinegar almonds and served with Blue Diamond nut thin crackers, and a banana almond soft serve sundae with fresh berries and crunchy chocolate oats. Not only does that all sound delicious to me, but the portions look good. A lot of these, the last two options are vegetarian friendly. You can use snack credits on all of them. And now for the big bonus. They got rid of the desserts and champagne booth this year. So this year it's almonds and champagne. It's just called the Almond Orchard, but that's where you can get all the champagne, and I like to treat myself to a glass of champagne to kick off the festival. So they have a Veuve Clicquot, they have a Dom Perignon, and they have a Moet and Chandon Brut Rosé Imperial. and I'd probably pick that last one. It's the middle price point at $16, and I just feel like a pretty princess when I'm drinking a pink glass of bubbly. So I would pick everything on the menu in a glass of bubbly, and then I'd be done with the festival. There you go. No, I'm just kidding. There's a lot more to eat. So what else would I recommend? The Belgian booth has a beer braised beef served with smoked Gouda mashed potatoes. That's very, very delicious. And if you have a picky eater with you, they have a chocolate Belgian waffle and a berry Belgian waffle. So you could get something really delicious and they could get something also delicious, but a little less unique. At the Brazil booth, I don't really think you can go wrong at the Brazil booth, but this dish I had last year, I was expecting it to be okay, but it was so unique and so delicious. I was not prepared for it at all, and I might be getting the name wrong. So if you are from Brazil and you can tell me how to actually pronounce this, I would love you forever if you shared that with me. But it's the pão de queijo. It's basically a Brazilian cheese bread. So I was expecting something more kind of like a Cheddar Bay biscuit. It's not like that at all. I don't even know how to describe it to you. I want to say it's like a profiterole stuffed with cheese, but that's not it either. It has a texture unlike anything I've ever had. It's so cheesy. It's so delicious. You get these little tiny cheese buns. Really good. It's only $4. Such a good use of your money and your stomach space. Now, at the Brewers Collection, I typically don't visit the beer-only booths, but this time they're offering a Schafferhofer Hefeweizen pomegranate beer. And I love the Schafferhofer grapefruit beer, as I know many of you do, that can be found in the Germany Pavilion. And now in my local liquor store, so yay! But pomegranate beer by the same people who make my beloved grapefruit beer, I would have to see what that tastes like. I would just have to. Now, I'm including this on the list because A, I'm from Canada, and B, my boss Carl over at WDW Magazine and Dad's Guide to WDW and WDW Discount Club, which you should go check out, would probably fire me if I didn't mention these. So Carl's favorite is the Le Cellier Wild Mushroom Beef Filet Mignon with truffle butter sauce. This was okay. I've had it in the past. It's not my favorite thing. Maybe I had it on an off day, but for the price point, it's not something I'm rushing back to have again and again. But it's really good if you love this, and if you can't get into Le Cellier, it's a hard ADR to get. Oh, and by the way, have you seen my video with Kim about the hard to get ADRs? Because if not, you should go back in our Facebook feed here or over to our YouTube channel and check that out, because we have some great tips on getting hard to get ADRs. Anyway, if you can't get into Le Cellier, this is the same steak from Le Cellier. Tinier portion, fraction of the price. Why not? They also have the very popular Canadian cheddar cheese soup served with a pretzel roll. And this is okay. I usually get it every time, but it's nothing special. You can get it year-round at Le Cellier if you can get an ADR. I might not save stomach space for this one, even though it's cheese and pretzels, which are two of my favorite things, and soup, which is like a third of my favorite things. So if you really want a taste of Canada, there it is. Although living in Canada, I don't think I've had any of these things here, so maybe I live in the wrong part of Canada. But let's keep talking about cheese, shall we? Because that's one of my major food groups. So there's the Cheese Studio, and this year it's hosted by Boursin Cheese. And they have a whole bunch of different things. And the things that I would really recommend are the braised beef stroganoff with tiny egg noodles, wild mushroom, and Boursin garlic and fine herbs cheese sauce, which is a really big portion from what I've seen in the photos that I've seen floating around the internet today. There's also a cheese trio that has 3 different little cheesy bites. There's a profiterole topped with Boursin garlic and fine herbs cheese and orange apricot jam, a smoked salmon pinwheel with Boursin shallot and chive cheese, and an everything seasoning and strawberry macaroon with, and everything seasoning is on the other one. The third thing is a strawberry macaroon with Boursin pepper cheese. And all of those sound good. I would eat them all. They all look to be a good portion, lots of cheese, you can't go wrong. Now, this is returning from last year, the Chocolate Studio, and the big blockbuster kind of item there is the Liquid Nitro Chocolate Almond Truffle with warm whiskey caramel sauce. This is really cool. This is something that you're going to want to Instagram or share on Facebook or take a video of to show your friends at home, because they actually like scoop out this like chocolate mousse thing and put it on a like super cooled surface so that it becomes solid, almost like a hard ice cream or a solid truffle, and then you eat it and it's cold, but it's Florida, so it's hot, so it starts to melt and it changes texture as you eat it. And I mean, I like chocolate, don't get me wrong, but I'm not like a chocoholic person like some people, and I would just eat this all day, every day. So good. And probably one of the few sweet things that you're going to see on my list, because typically the desserts at the festival are not what I go after. I'm more of a salt tooth than a sweet tooth. Is a salt tooth a thing? I don't know. And speaking of salt teeth, in 2017, there's a craft beer area in the Odyssey Pavilion, which is only used for special events nowadays. And what you're going to find there is a zesty cheeseburger and cheddar cheese macaroni sandwich. Now, this is cool because it looks like a lot like what they serve over in Cars Land at Disneyland, which is like a bread cone filled with delicious mac and cheese, which I am not above eating for breakfast and have, in fact, done that. So it's only $5.50. It looks delicious and filling, and if you're going to be indulging in craft beers there, not only will it be a good pairing, but like a good way to soak up some of that beer. So I would definitely recommend that. And something else that's nice about this location, in addition to the fact that it's inside and air conditioned, they actually have beer flights. So they have an Eastern Florida beer flight and a Western Florida beer flight. So instead of just ordering one beer, which you can also do, you could order a flight of 3 and have smaller pours and be able to sample them all. And that is really great, especially if you're there with a friend or multiple friends and you can have sips of different beers and see what you like. My husband and I always like to get beer flights and share them that way. Now, in the Farm Fresh booth this year, there is a roasted beet salad with green beans, feta, -8 vinaigrette, and toasted walnuts. This is a little bit different, I think, than the salads that they've had in the past, but every time I've had a salad at either the Food and Wine Festival or the Flower and Garden Festival, they have been absolutely delicious, and they're huge. Like, you get portions at the festivals, typically in these little like cardboard boat things. It's like overflowing in the little cardboard boat. It's so much food. It's nice to have something lighter to counter all of the heavier things that you're eating, and it's delicious and a good way to fill up and get some vegetables and maybe not feel so guilty about all the beers and cheese that I've just told you to eat. So I would definitely suggest that. Oh, and the salads are super cheap. It's like $3.75. So that is a good one. Don't waste a snack credit on that if you're on the dining plan. Just pay for that out of pocket. Over in France, one of my always favorite booths, because they have a La Passion Martini slush, which is similar to the Grey Goose slushes that they have all year round, the lemon and the orange, but this one is Grey Goose Le Citron, cranberry and passion fruit, and it's really, really delicious, guys. They also have croissant au escargot, which is like a garlic buttery escargot croissant thing. I have not actually eaten this, but my husband loves this dish. I can't bring myself to eat a little baby snail. So I have a girlfriend in university who studied snails, so I feel kinship with them, and I don't want to eat them. But if you do want to eat them, and my husband Danny says that you should, this is a great way to try them. And it's like a small portion. If it's something that you've always wanted to try and never felt like you could, this is a place to try some escargot. Now, they have something new this year that I really wish I was eating because it sounds so good. It's a creme brulee la confiture de framboise. So it's a creme brulee with house-made raspberry jam. And that just sounds perfect to me. So if you go have that, have a second one for me. Over in the Germany booth this year, they have a roast bratwurst and a pretzel roll, which is pretty standard German fare. Delicious, right? but it's a really good portion. It's like a full-size sausage in a little pretzel roll. So good for a picky eater, maybe a kid, or like you're really hungry and you want to fill up on things. That would be a good large portion. They also have, I have some German heritage and I'm gonna just butcher this. I'm very sorry, family back in Germany, but they have a Lebkuchenherz decorated gingerbread heart, which looks adorable, and it says Prost, which is German for cheers, and has a little beer stein on it and a little icing, and it's so cute. But this cookie is $7. So yeah, sure, it might be good for a kid that's in your party, but this is where you want to use some of those dining plan snack credits, because that's a great use of a snack credit. Forget a $3 bottle of water. Get the $7 cookie. You heard it here first. Now, another one of my always favorite booths at the festival is Hawaii, and they have a returning item that I get every time I go to the festival. It's a Kahlua pork slider with sweet and sour Dole pineapple chutney and spicy mayonnaise. It's always delicious. You can't go wrong. I always leave a happy camper, so I definitely recommend it if you enjoy the flavors of Hawaii. Now, new for this year is the India booth. It actually might be a returning booth. I'm not sure, but I have never experienced the India booth before, but I do love Indian food. So they have a bunch of items. They have warm Indian bread with pickled garlic, mango salsa, and coriander pesto dips, a Madras red curry with roasted cauliflower, baby carrots, chickpeas, and basmati rice, a korma chicken with cucumber tomato salad, almonds, cashews, and warm naan, and a pistachio cardamom bundt cake with coconut chocolate mousse. Those all sound great. And the portions from what I've seen look really big. So this would be a great place if you like Indian food, if you have many people in your party, you want to try a bunch of different things. If you're on the dining plan, exchange a quick service meal credit for 3 of those items. And they should let you do that, and that would be a really smart use of, oh, sorry, just got a little notification there. That would be a really smart use of your dining plan credits. And if not, they all look like good portions at good prices. So let me know how it is if you go. Now, over at Islands of the Caribbean, they have something this year called a frozen mojito. They actually had this last year too, and it was delicious. It was so refreshing on a hot Florida evening. It is $10, and I don't recommend a ton of the cocktails at the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival because they tend to be very expensive and you get very little. I'm more of a fan of going to some of the beverage seminars because you learn something and you get to taste different things. But if it's hot and you want to drink frozen mojito, $10, I guarantee you'll enjoy it. Now, over in Italy, this is another thing that for myself, I probably wouldn't order, but I know it's going to be popular with a lot of people. A lot of you are probably going to love it, and it's a crispy calamari with spicy pomodoro sauce. Now, I'm not a huge calamari person, but I have friends who are. My husband's a huge calamari person, and the portion on this looks really good. It looks fresh and delicious. So, it's also pretty expensive. It's $8. So if you can go use this DDP snack credit there, that's a great use of your credit. Speaking of great uses of credits, over in the Japan booth this year, everything's so expensive. You've got a wasabi shumai steamed pork dumplings for $6.95. They look pretty good. A salmon BLT sushi roll for $7.95, and the photos I've seen look like 2 pieces of sushi, like a maki roll. So, I don't know. And a teriyaki ginger pork for $8.25. If you want to try those things, if you're on the dining plan, exchange meal credit for that and get all 3, or just use a snack credit to get the one that you want. The dumplings are, and the salmon BLT are pretty unique. The dumplings are probably the one that I would pick if you're paying out of pocket. They are the cheapest, and the portion size looks a little bit better than the sushi, but they all looks like good offerings from Japan as always. Now this is a cool new booth. It's called the Light Lab, and I really wish I was at the festival to check this out right now. It looks like it's indoors. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't seen on the map where it is, but it looks like it's indoors, maybe in the Odyssey Pavilion as well, or maybe in one of the Interventions Pavilions. I'm not sure. but everything glows. Like they have black lights and it's all cool. And they have tons of different drink options, but and a few different food options. But the one, or maybe just one food option, I'm not 100% on that. I think it's one food option, some non-alcoholic cocktails like mocktails, and a bunch of drinks. But the food that they have is called the Glow Nut. It's a donut and it glows in the dark. It's $3. You have to buy it and put it on Instagram and tag me so I can see more of it because it looks delicious and beautiful. Then they have a ton of beverages. And one of the alcoholic cocktails looks really good. It's called a Blue Spectrum, and it's Blanc de Bleu Cuvée Mousseux with boba pearls. So it looks beautiful. It's in the champagne glass. It has boba pearls. It's blue. There's black lights going on. Very Instagrammable if you care about that sort of thing. And sometimes with food I do. But I also care about delicious and good value, which is where they have two beer flights. I think it's all beer. Might be some ciders. I think it's all beer though. They have a space flight and a light flight. And both of those have 3 different samples in them. They're $9 each, and that will be a great way to sample like we talked about earlier. Now, my thought is they're probably testing out to see how people are reacting to black lights, space themed food, light bubbly themed food, because maybe we know that there's that Mission Space restaurant coming, so maybe this is a kind of thing that we can expect there. That's all my own speculation, but it would make sense to test out market viability here. So if you taste anything, let me know how it is and if we should be getting excited for this restaurant. Now, like I said before, I don't recommend a ton of cocktails at the festivals, but in the Mexico Pavilion, you typically get a pretty good pour of stuff. So they have a Mexican mule and also a spicy apple margarita this year that I think look pretty good. They look like sizable portions, which is great because they are $9.25 and $10.75 respectively. The margarita is a little bit more than the mule. And it's interesting that the margaritas and cocktails there are a good pour because the tacos, oh, I love tacos. Don't you love tacos? Tacos there are delicious, but they're so tiny. They're just like teeny tiny, like 2-bite tacos, and they're not a good use of your money. Unless you have Scrooge McDuck money, or unless all of your money is earmarked for tacos, which maybe it is, and I won't judge you on that. Now, over in New Zealand, again, not a dish that is going to be my top pick for me personally, but they do have a seared venison loin with wild mushroom marsala sauce and kumara puree. That's $6.50. It would be a good choice if you're looking for something really meaty and a little bit unique, because you don't get a lot of like the bison, elk, venison, like the non-traditional meats, I guess. Anything outside of beef, pork, and chicken, you don't see a lot of at Disney. So this is your chance to go have some venison. So that's over in the New Zealand booth. And they have a frozen wine cocktail featuring Kim Crawford's Sauvignon Blanc, which is a pretty delicious wine. And it's only $6.50, and it looks like it's an okay pour, and it's an interesting thing. It's not just a regular pour of wine. It's not the same cocktail you're gonna get every year. This is the first time I've seen it on the menu, so I would try that. Frozen wines right now are really on trend, so it's a good way for you to test that out. But then you want to go over to the Patagonia booth, which is always one of my favorite booths. And the thing that I love to get there is the grilled beef skewer with chimichurri sauce and boniato puree. I might not be pronouncing that right, but boniato, or however you pronounce it, is basically a type. It's almost like a potato that's available in South America. So it's kind of like a mashed potato puree, but it's a tiny bit different. It's so delicious, guys. I got this recipe over on allears.net. I make it all the time, like multiple times a year. I make this for myself at home because it's so delicious. I make it for dinner parties. I make it just because. I make it for like my anniversary. Delicious. I cannot get enough of this delicious steak and chimichurri. So it's usually the thing that I buy more than one of when we go to the festival. It is $5.75 and not a bad use. Hey Mike, how's it going? My friend Mike Bayer is here now. and he's from Destinations to Travel. So you might want to check them out. You remember Destinations to Travel from our avatar contest that we did in our video last week. Now, a few more things to talk about. Over in Scotland, you can get a traditional Scottish lamb stew with neeps and tatties, which is potatoes and turnips, if you're not familiar. It's only $4.75, and it is a big portion, and it's a hearty thing. This is a good thing for you to order at nighttime when it's a little chillier or when you're a little bit more hungry. Delicious. Like, get that, go watch Illuminations. Maybe there's a little breeze. Sounds pretty good to me. Now, over in the Spain booth, Spain is new this year. They have a lot of new items, but the two that I'd really recommend is the wine flight, which is only $6.50, which is pretty affordable for wine or wine flights at this festival. And one of their more interesting options, well, all of their food is interesting, but the one that I would pick is charcuterie in a cone with a selection of imported Spanish meats, cheeses, and olives in an herbed vinaigrette. It's in almost like I don't know if it's paper or like very thin bamboo or something. It's in a little cone. It's all these little snacky bits, and I can just see myself like having a little wine flight and little snacky bits and sharing. Oh, Mike, you're going to the festival. I'm very excited. I hope that you share some photos or some videos with us here and let us know what your favorite items are. In Thailand, at the Thailand booth, this is another returning booth, but newly returning. It's had a few years off. They have a marinated chicken with peanut sauce and stir-fried vegetables. They have a seared shrimp and scallop cake with cold noodle salad and a red-hot spicy Thai curry beef with steamed rice. These portions all look huge, and they're not badly priced. So it's another great place for you to use up those snack credits or those meal credits if you want to try all of them. But even if you're paying out of pocket, like, it is a good value. If you like Thai food, go check it out. Now, the last booth that I want to talk about today is the Wine and Dine Studio. They have a few things to eat. They have a bunch of things to drink, as you wine and dine, as you would assume. But the thing that I had last year, and the offerings are different this year, but the presentation is the same. It's an artist palette of cheese and wine. So you actually get like literally a cute little cardboard like painter's palette with 3 little bites of cheesy morsels on it and like 3 little cups of wine. So you can actually try 6 things that they're offering at this booth, and it's only $11.25. It's a really good value for money, and because you get to taste so much. And the other thing that I would mention, I would try here, there are more wines. There's more than 3 wines at the booth. So the one wine that is not a part of the trio that I would suggest trying is the Meiomi Rosé from California. It's $5 to try that one. And I've not actually had this wine, but last year at the festival, we went to a tasting with Meiomi and a representative from Meiomi, and we tasted a Pinot Noir and a Chardonnay that were both really, really good, as well as another dark red wine that was from another one of their family of brands. So the fact that they've introduced a rosé, I'm willing to bet that's pretty delicious. And if I was there, I'd be making a beeline to the Wine and Dine Studio to try that. So those are my favorite picks for the festival this year, and I hope that you try some of them and share them with me. Send me photos. We'll post them here on Facebook and let everyone know that you had some fangirl foodie fun at the festival. And tell me what your favorites are or what you're hoping to try. You can leave comments below if you're not watching this live, and I promise I'll get back to you. If you have any questions for me, you want to share anything, that would be great. And next Thursday, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be releasing a video that's all about the Food and Wine Festival, so I hope you tune into that. And thanks to everyone who tuned in live today. That's all for now. Until next time, keep living the magic, fangirls. Bye!